Hey guys, back again for what I hope is a quick video. I get a lot of requests about how to keep a standard Fender tremolo system, synchronized tremolo, in tune when you're doing, especially with the Van Halen stuff, when you're doing the dive bomb stuff and the string bending and all that stuff. I guess the quick answer is you don't. The guitar is going to go out of tune, and what you do is that you figure out little tricks, and the way you set the guitar up helps you. It gets consistency where it's going to go out of tune, how it's going to go out of tune, and so it becomes predictable, and you can snap it right back in tune by just a couple of quick things. So it's a whole playing technique along with how you set the guitar up. So, I mean, I love these things. I love the way they sound. To me, they sound better than the Floyd Rose tremolo does. The Floyd Rose tends to be a little tinkier. You know, it's just not as warm sounding for whatever reason. I think it has to do with body contact, because there's definitely more mass in a Floyd Rose. But when these are set up the way Ed set them up, you've got the whole base plate of the tremolo is laying on the body. Even though Ed had his Floyd decked as low as you could, it still wasn't contacting the body in as much area as one of these does. Plus, I like the geometry better, because even a decked Floyd Rose doesn't get quite as low as what a standard Fender Trem does. So you've got strings that are lower to the body. So just the neck doesn't have to be pitched back as far like on a Floyd. And again, it's subtle differences. It's not a huge difference. I'm able to get my Floyds down really low too, and I don't have to shim the neck hardly at all. All right, as far as setting it up and the rumors and everything about how Ed did it, I think for starters, the most important thing is probably neck break or string break angle as it comes over the nut. You can see I don't have a lot of break angle. There's not, it's pretty much a straight line coming off the back side of the nut going to the tuners. That's huge because it keeps the string from getting hung up in the nut as easily. They still do, but it's a smoother transition, and you get a little bit of that sitar sound if you pick really hard, but it doesn't really come through an amp. Now they say that Ed's sounded like a sitar with all the strings open, because he did the same thing. The other thing, and the way you achieve that, I should backtrack a little bit. The way you achieve that is I top wind the posts. So when I put new strings on, you know, normally when you wind up a string on a tuner on the post, you start, and as each subsequent wrap it goes lower on the post. I do it the opposite way on these guitars. So I start at underneath where the string comes through, and then I start the subsequent wraps go up above. So I call that a top wind. And I also tie the strings, and a tie is one of those things that it's not any kind of intricate knot or anything. What it is I think it was Gibson I first saw him. All the Gibson guitars come from a factory like that. And what it is you put the string through the post, or through the hole in the post, and then essentially you're you're getting one of these things going. So this would be the bottom wind underneath the post, and this would be the top wind. So as you're winding around the post, you're kind of clamping this string in. So when you're stretching and pulling and that locks that string in. The wraps up on either side of it will lock that string in. So that's really important. And also, you only really need 2 winds, especially on the wound strings. Don't go any more than 2 winds, because then you have a chance that the winds can loosen up when you do it like a really severe dive bomb or something, and the winds actually get stuck to each other and they hang up that way. So just 2 winds on the wound strings at least. The unwound strings, you can 3 or 4 winds is probably fine, but you don't need to do much. I do use a string tree on this one, just on the B and the E string. It's as light as I can possibly get it. Again, you refer to that, to the down angle, if you can see it, the break angle. It's hardly anything. So I just keep that at as minimum as possible. As far as the bridge, the tension for the springs, the way I like to set it is that when I bend, if I do like a 1.5 steps, I don't want to see the bridge starting to pull itself off the guitar. But any further than that, like a 2-step bend, like one of these really wild radical bends, the bridge will start to pull forward, and that's when I know I've got the tension set. So that's when I set the claw, and that's how I adjust it. There, it's just starting to pull up, right there. And see it. It's the bends that knock you out of tune. So as I demonstrated in this little bit of Ice Cream Man riff where he does this, that's out of tune right there. I've bent it out of tune. But that's how I get it. I snap it back. I do one little quick with the bar, and that brings you right back in tune, usually. I mean, you can knock it out so far, then you got other things. The low E string. Now, the low E string will also tend to go a little sharp. And I just will do a quick little tug like that. And you do all these things while you're playing, and nobody ever sees it. See, I just did a little pull on the B and the E string to pull them back because they went a little sharp. See? That's a quick little... So it's little tricks that you learn, and I think, honestly, I think that's where Ed got his doing that move, because that by using the bar, it pulls everything back in tune. So initially when you're tuning the guitar, and when you're tuning it up, you'll do things like you get close to pitch, you know, however you like to tune. Always grab the bar and you wiggle it a little bit, because that's what settles the strings in. As far as the lore, the Ed lore about how he actually tuned the guitar or strung the guitar, where, you know, they used to say, he said at one point where as he put the hole or the string through the block, and as he was winding the peg up here, winding the string up, he would also twist the ball end. And I think that's a bunch of nonsense. I've tried it because I'm a nerd, and of course you try all this stuff to try to keep the thing in tune, but I never found any difference in doing that, in trying to turn, because at some point you get to the tension where you can no longer turn it, and you can't, and it doesn't make any sense. It's just, I think it's just folklore. Or he was telling Ed stories again, something like that. He had a brass nut. I've had a brass nut on this one. It works great with oil. Works really good with oil. It doesn't work so good without the oil. I got sick of carrying oil around. Plus, you can see how it's staining all around here and everything. I just, if I don't have to carry oil, I don't have to carry oil. I don't have to stain up my neck anymore. And I was worried about it getting kind of weak. The wood was getting mushy around the nut there. So I said, enough of that. I put a Graphtec nut in it, and it works great. So that's a quick and easy solution. So I hope that helps. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, and for those that are gonna ask, I'm using my same old guitar rig. I'm playing loud here in the room. The pickup in here is a PAF that I had. I should say it's a PAF copy. I had Greg, that Jalen, wind it for me. It's an asymmetric coil. It's got a short rough cast A5. It comes in at about 7.85K, and I've got a 250K pot in here, and I think it's perfect for the Van Halen 1 stuff. So if anybody's asking, strings are 9 through 42. I prefer the 9 through 40s, but they're so hard to find anymore that you can't find them, but they're just 9 through, I got DRs on here right now, the DR Blues. All nickel, 9 through 42, or 16 on the G. So 9, 11, 16, 24, 32, 42. So I think that's it. Like I said, let me know if you have any questions. See ya.